In a sea of Himalayan-style chews, how do you actually stand out?
Okay, well, let's be honest. This is a saturated category. Same shape, same claims, same long lasting yak chew story.
But Yak 9 Chews isn't just another copycat in a crowded category.
Yak 9 is actually an award winning brand that took a traditional Himalayan chew and elevated it.
First, they don't splinter like lower quality chews can. They're dense, durable, and crafted for a safer, longer lasting chew experience that pet parents trust.
And then there's the flavor innovation. We're talking functional, differentiated options like turmeric, coconut, pumpkin, blueberry, honey, flaxseed, even strawberry. These flavors don't just sound good, they add value and help your shelf stand out.
And they're made with simple ingredients like yak milk, lime juice, salt, no artificial preservatives, high protein, easily digestible, clean label, strong sell.
And from a retailer perspective, multiple sizes, strong packaging, a lineup that merchandises beautifully and drives repeat purchases.
So if you're walking Global Pet Expo wondering whether you need another Himalayan chew,
You don't.
unless it's Yak 9,
That's right. So visit Yak 9 Chews at booth 750 at Global Pet Expo.
and while you're there, use promo code PetShopGirls at the booth for an extra little discount on top of their show special.
And you can learn more at yak9chews.com.
That's Yak 9 Chews, not just another chew. Thinking about launching your own line of treats? You're in good company, and honestly, there's never been a better moment.
That's right, because private label is exploding. In the US, private label pet care hit 5.5 billion this year, up 2.4%, and that wave is only getting bigger. Retailers aren't waiting for national brands anymore. They're building their own.
And globally, private label isn't just growing, it's taking over. In places like Portugal and Hungary, private label pet food holds over 70% of the market. Here in the US, more than 80% of consumers say private label matches or beats national brands. Translation? Customers trust you just as much as they trust the big manufacturers.
Which makes treats the easiest entry point. Fast margin, low risk, instant brand recognition, and customers love seeing your logo on something their dog already enjoys. That's where Aardvark shines.
Aardvark keeps minimums small so independents can actually compete. No massive buy-ins, no complicated setup, just high-quality treats professionally labeled with your brand so your shelves look polished and premium on day one.
And because you're listening to the Pet Shop Girls, your $600 setup fee is waived. Plus, you'll get 10% off your first order. Just tell them the Pet Shop Girls sent you.
Go to aardvarkpet.com and get started. Aardvark Pet Products, where your brand begins.
Pet Shop Girls, the voice of the indie, the heart of the trade. Pet Shop Girls, unleash your power, let's make some waves.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherry.
And I'm Carly.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pet Shop Girls podcast.
Woo-woo!
We are talking about grooming today. I know a lot of you listening have a grooming department, or maybe
A
you
dog
are
that
just,
you get groomed.
yeah, there's that too. Yeah. Or you're just a grooming salon. After doing this for 20 years, I developed a way that I like my groomers to check in dogs upon arrival.
So that
Because,
you're not leaving money on the table. Because let me ask you this,
yeah,
Sherry. Have you ever had one of your clients say after picking up their dog, that's not what I asked for?
so many
Or,
times.
right?
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
if the dog was matted, but the pet parent insists absolutely not, they didn't have mats, and your groomers have done all the work to remove the mats, and now the customer's refusing to pay for this.
Right. It's frustrating. And I believe every salon has dealt with something like this. And honestly, it's just lack of communication. So, and I do want to say, because Carly doesn't have grooming in her store, so she's not ever done this side of things, but I realized today that I have never actually taken a personal dog to go get groomed at another salon.
That's
I've
right. So,
never been the customer.
aha.
Yeah,
I have never been the grooming side. You have never been the customer side.
exactly, exactly. So I kind of want to hear her take on things from the
But okay,
customer side.
I like what you put together here because you literally just said it comes down to a lack of communication. When the furry guy gets dropped off, the groomer takes the dog in and says, same as last time. And the customer says, yep, and walks out the door and waits for a text. And then when they come pick him up, you're like, okay, I ground his toenails. I gave him a blueberry scrub. I did the mats. I like all of the things and it will be X number of dollars. And the customer's like, whoa, 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 I was just bringing them for a bath. And yeah, so you've put together an intake form that will prevent those misunderstandings from
Yeah,
happening
yeah. Well, and
and
each groomer was
doing it
asking
different.
was doing it differently.
Yeah.
So I needed to standardize this process. And look, not all salons work the same way. Some salons have front desk people and the groomers don't come up. It depends on how you run things. I personally prefer to have my groomers come up and receive the dog themselves
Hmm.
because they can feel the dog, see if there's anything weird, cysts or mats or anything like that.
Hmm.
They can recommend certain haircuts for certain lifestyle. Like if somebody wants their dog with really long hair, really long fur, but they only want to bring the dog in every 6 months to get groomed, that's not going to, and they don't want to brush the dog at home, that's
Yeah.
not going to work for their lifestyle. So
Yeah.
it's their job to recommend the right thing.
Well, and you know that I am all about a good process and a checklist. I kind of like that's my happy space. And I like having standardization as well. And like I know completely off topic, but when I bring new people into my store, I regularly say to them, listen, for the first couple weeks, you're going to be a fly on the wall. You're going to be listening to everything that all of us say. And you are going to notice that at the end of the day, we might all have our own individual ways of saying it, but the information is consistent every single time. And the example I give is like you're going to hear everybody in my store say any raw is better than no raw when they're talking to a pet parent about adding raw to the bowl. That will be consistent. How they have that conversation is going to be slightly different depending on which one of us you're talking to, because we all have our own personalities, but the end message will be the same. And I think, so in a very roundabout way, I got to land this plane. What I'm saying is all of your groomers may take in a dog and they will have their own little personalities. But at the end of the day, your intake form ensures that you are making sure that it is a consistent process. Even if there's some individual personality inserted in there,
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah,
steps are being done.
exactly. I just want them to touch on each one of these points. So, and we're going to share my grooming intake and check-in script in our Substack
Yeah.
community. So,
Yeah.
so you can see it there. Ultimately, though, you guys, this will prevent standardizing this simple, seemingly simple process
Hmm.
will prevent negative reviews, money lost, and you will retain more new clients because there isn't going to be these miscommunications.
Hmm.
So,
Listen,
okay.
and you know what? Like I love my groomer. She's very good to Zaner and I, but it is a very casual check-in process. I message her through Instagram to make my appointment.
Wow.
And yep.
Okay.
And I put it in my calendar. I do get a text message notification the day before to say, hey, Zayner's groom is at 9 a.m. or whatever it is. I show up. She's like, same as usual. And I'm like, yeah, maybe just leave his back here a little bit longer because it's fall. Or, yeah, it's summer. So make him just a little bit shorter. And she's like, okay, I'll give you a text when he's ready. And then,
So, okay. The problem with same as usual, because my guys do it too, especially
yeah,
the clients they've been doing for years and they see a lot of. The problem with same as usual is that a lot of clients don't remember exactly what they got last time.
yeah.
Or the husband drops off one time, the wife drops off another time. Last time they got a nail grind, but this time they don't want it. And then when they pick up, they're like, I didn't ask for that. And the groomer had just said same as last time, and then we lose money because we have to refund them that nail grind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is gonna help with those issues. So, step 1. My step 1 is review the grooming card if you guys have paper cards or if you do it digitally. Review the last grooming notes
Mhm.
from when the dog was there last time. Was it matted last time? What kind of a haircut did it get? Did you do a nail grind? All those things. So that way when you're mentally prepared when the client comes, you can be like, "Okay, we did a 3/4 inch haircut. We did a pom-pom tail. Did you wanna do that again?" Or Carly, in your case, you have a Yorkie. Do you want the ears tipped? That's it's called when you shave the tip of the ears on a Yorkie.
And you know what's funny is, like, when I have gone to other groomers, and like I said, I love my groomer, like, she knows what I want, and I don't have to worry about it. Because when I do go to other groomers and they're like, "Do you want his ears tipped?" I'm like, I want a puppy cut." Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know
some
the
people don't
things,
want the
and
ears tipped. Yeah,
well,
and it's their
and I
job to
don't know the
explain
lingo.
these
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
exactly, exactly, and I
Yeah.
don't know the lingo, so I just always say puppy cut, and my groomer knows exactly how Zayner's hair should be cut, and so when
Right.
I walk in and she says, "Same as last time," I'm like, "Yep," and I just say a little bit shorter or longer,
Well,
but
and
she knows.
for people who get the same thing every single time and you're 99% sure that that's what you're gonna do, I still want my groomers to ask, "Has there been any behavior issues or
Yep,
any health issues that I need to know about?"
yep.
Also, they still need to feel the dog because what if it was super rainy and they went out and got in the wet grass and then mom didn't brush the coat right after, and maybe you missed your last groom and a bunch of mats formed. You've got to feel the dog too and address that while the customer is there is more ideal than having to call them later.
Well, and what I like about this though too is it does separate you as being that professional salon. Because it even if I get a different groomer every time, the process is the same. I know what I as a customer, I come to know what to expect when I go to Odyssey to get my pet groomed. I'm going to be asked these same questions. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting what I want, what I'm prepared to pay for before I leave. And then I come back and I get a bill that's double what I thought it was going to be because husband dropped him off last time and I'm dropping him off this time. And what I got when the last time I dropped him. So when you say to me, same as last time, well, the last time I dropped him off, he got a bath. But the last time the husband,
Exactly. That's
yeah,
happened too, where you
yeah,
do a haircut when really the client wanted a bath because they said same as last time, but didn't specify what exactly that was.
yes. And last time it
Um,
was the husband who dropped him off and got the haircut.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Okay, so client actually arrives. Greet the client. That's step 2, okay? These steps are gonna go really fast. Okay, then you're gonna confirm the last groom. So, do you like what we did on them last time, or do you want me to make any changes? And I have them specifically list out the services. So if they did add-ons, like for example, we charge extra for a nail grind, we charge extra for teeth brushing. So, okay, we did this length on the coat and this type of haircut, but we also did a nail grind and a teeth brushing. Did you want that again? And if they do want a different haircut, then you go through the process of, okay, how much shorter do you want it? And we actually have a fur chart
Mhm.
that we made that has different lengths
Lengths,
and
yeah.
the guard and blade sizes next to it. That's not perfect because it's not real fur, but it gives people a
An
general idea.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like, I remember when I used to take Zaner, I didn't know any better. I didn't own a pet store, and I used to go to a big box. And they had their little fur chart there, and I had one girl in there that she did a good job of him. Anybody else, and I would literally say to them, "Do not give him an army buzz cut." And I would
So
pick
you
him
didn't
up.
want them shaved. Yeah.
I didn't want and I would pick him up, and he would have the army buzz cut.
Oh,
And
gosh.
he looks like a little rat when he has no fur because he's
Yes,
5
he's so
pounds.
tiny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I would be so angry every single time because I would specifically say, "Do not do this." And they would do it. And I was like pointing on their little fur chart. So I think it's important too as pet pros that if we're going to give the customer all these tools to ensure they get what they want so they're happy and they pay, then our groomers definitely have to take heed with what the customer says and make sure that they are doing what is being asked of them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So now, if it's their first time in, if it's the client's first time to be groomed at all in your salon, then I like my groomers to ask, okay, would you like to take half off, more than half, less than half? Because they're not going to know the names of the guards
Mhm.
or the blades. And once you get a general idea, okay, well, we want to take off half. Then you can bring out that fur chart and like actually kind of show them
Yep.
what they're looking at just to double check yourself.
Yep. Yep.
Then I have them explain popular add-ons like teeth brushing. They also have to specify the pricing. You can't just say, "Oh, would you like a teeth brushing with that?" And then the customer's like, "Sure." You gotta tell them how much it is. You gotta
Yeah,
go one
exactly.
step further,
Yeah.
you know?
Because, yeah, if they've never been to your salon before and they don't realize that these are additional services that will be performed that are at a cost, they'll just think that when you say, "Oh, do you want the teeth brushed? Do you want the nails grind? Do you want the
Well, and
everything
even though
done?"
I have a menu posted, I have it online, people don't always read it. So,
No, no.
like,
So they
you know,
won't know.
just recently, we had somebody come in and my groomer explained how our de-shedding process worked, and they were like, "That sounds great, let's do it," but we didn't tell them how much extra it was going to be. So,
Oh,
yeah, and that's a big add-on. So,
yeah.
it was like a $20 add-on. So, you gotta tell them how much upfront. Look, people will freak out if there is a $5 extra charge that they don't know about,
Mhm.
and that they will just throw down. So,
Yeah.
you gotta be very specific. Yes, and it's the and I'll get into this later, but if you do discover that it is going to be a different price than what you initially told them, I call them or I
Yeah.
have the groomer call them to explain why the charge is going to be different and if they want us to continue.
Mhm.
But I'll get into that.
All right, Pet Pro. If senior dog customers are walking into your store every week asking about brain health, pacing, sleep disruption, or confusion,
And you wish you had real clinical data behind what you're recommending?
then you need to be at booth 1322 at Global Pet Expo.
We're talking about the senior dog study conducted using MycoDog's Clarity Mushroom Tincture. And this wasn't a casual product test.
No, this was structured clinical research evaluating how functional mushrooms and adaptogens support cognitive health in aging dogs.
And here's the big takeaway, y'all. 81% of senior dogs showed stabilized or improved cognitive function.
That is huge because cognitive decline is one of the biggest pain points that senior dog parents face and one of the hardest conversations for retailers to confidently navigate.
What makes this even more compelling? Real world data, wearable collar technology, blood biomarkers, behavioral scoring. This wasn't fluff, it was measurable.
And if you want to confidently talk about lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, and actually understand how they support brain health, this is where you get educated.
So here's your plan.
Booth 1322.
Join the MycoDog team Thursday, March 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern at the MycoDog booth to learn more about the senior dog study and their USA grown mushroom tinctures.
Because if senior dog health matters to your customers, and it absolutely does, this is one you cannot skip. And you can also check out MycoDog in our Indie Insider Global Goodie Bags for Indie Insiders only.
Booth 1322, Thursday at 11. Don't forget to check out our pinned post in the group to see how to get your goodie bag.
See you there.
Just to circle back where we were, if it's their first time in. You're explaining the add-ons and the pricing. And then I like for them to recommend a grooming schedule because we all know matting is an issue, especially in certain breeds.
Yeah.
And mats are they can be they can be painful for a dog. Oxygen can't get to the skin. It gets really tight to the skin. And the general public doesn't realize these things. Plus, most people don't want their dog shaved down with a 10 or a 20 blade. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So, especially if it's a new puppy owner, what I'm envisioning in my head right now is like a puppy Shih Tzu, right?
yeah.
They got the beautiful fluffy fur, but if that fur gets wet and then they don't brush it out, the owner doesn't brush it out, mats are going to form fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And then we have to explain to them, look, we've got to shave underneath the mat to take it off. And that'll look weird if we don't take it off all over the body. So it's a shave down, whether
That
the
just
mats are
gave
just
me
on the legs or anywhere else.
an idea. Is it just a dog grooming guide that you could have as a downloadable document on your website? Or could it be like with all these little tips and tricks for either first time pet parents or pet parents who just adopted a dog that requires regular grooming?
Oh, yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of a
That's a
little
great
either
idea.
rack card or
Well, I actually created I forget what I call it, but it's a grooming guide. I think I called it a grooming guide where I have a QR code right where we check in the dogs and people can scan it. And I have popular breeds and popular haircuts. And you can click on the breed. Like, I think I have a Yorkie on there. You can click on the Yorkie and it shows like the breed standard haircut
yeah.
and it takes you to a different page with that.
I think you
Anyway,
showed me that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and,
But
like, the
maybe
difference between
just
a
like
lamb cut and a puppy cut because most people don't know the difference between any of that either, no?
yeah. Yeah, that it might just be like that's just again for first timers. They get a little rack card with kind of Odyssey's best grooming tips for
Yeah.
short hair, medium hair, long hair dogs. Maybe that's where you go with it. But and then they get that so that they know that hey, a grooming schedule is important.
Right. So, grooming schedule, yes, we typically recommend every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how low or high maintenance of a haircut they want, and we also recommend, like, an in-between bath. So, if they don't want to brush their dog at home and they want the hair kinda long, then they need to come in more often. And we also like to ask whether they want cologne or bandana. Now, typically you would do this the first time they come in, but sometimes we forget to notate it on their card. The reason you want to ask, especially about the cologne, is some people are allergic.
Right.
And once you put it on the dog, there's no
It's
taking it
down there
off.
for days. Yeah.
You got to rebathe the dog.
Yeah.
And then I like to ask if they want a bandana because some people don't care, and that saves me money by not having to waste bandana material on that particular client. Okay, and then we go to the health and comfort check, which we kind of touched on earlier. So even if you have seen this client multiple times and you're pretty sure you know what they want, like you're 99% sure you know what they want, at least ask them if there's been any changes since last visit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when Zaner was misdiagnosed with IVDD, and I had heard that grooming becomes a bit of an issue and that you want to try to get a groom done within an hour if a dog has IVDD.
Hmm.
And at the time, I didn't know that he was misdiagnosed. I was just going by what the vet had said, and the vet said he had IVDD. And so, of course, I got a hold of my groomer and I said, "Can you accommodate getting him done in an hour or
Yeah,
less?"
we call that an express groom,
Yeah,
and it would cost extra.
so she doesn't charge me any extra, but she just makes sure that she books me on a time where she has, I guess, the
Mm,
ability to do it in an hour. And then he doesn't have to stand as long. And like I said, I think he was misdiagnosed anyways, but she still kind of just keeps me around that hour with him just so he doesn't have to stand there any longer.
yeah.
But yeah, that would be something that if you're not doing this intake, you know, process, and you didn't ask me, and I just showed up with my dog, and it's like, "Hey, has anything happened since the last time we saw them?"
Right.
I may
Like
not
like,
volunteer that
hey,
as a
you
pet
know,
parent.
it's well, yeah, yeah. And gosh, recently we've had a couple dogs that started developing seizures. And we really want the client to tell us if seizures have been happening so that my staff can be like mentally prepared if it happened like while the dog was there, which has happened. In fact, we had a whole seizure safety meeting the other day on how to deal with that. Okay. Then we're going to go into matting and time and cost. You got to let them know about all these things when it comes to matting. And
Yeah.
we have a whole separate form. Look, we could probably talk. Actually, I know we could. We could probably do 3 podcasts on
Uh,
just matted dogs. Like definitely a thing.
yeah.
But what I want my groomers to say at check-in is, well, first of all, if they identify matting, then they go through the process of explaining. Look, we're going to have. I can either If it's easy enough for them to demat, they need to estimate how much that may cost. If it is beyond being able to demat, then they need to explain that we're going to have to shave them down. But sometimes you take in a dog and you run into mats that you didn't catch on the intake. So I really like them to say something like this. If we run into matting, we may need to go shorter than planned for your pet's comfort and safety. Are you okay if we have to go shorter than what we discussed? And that preps the customer too. When they pick up, they're not going to be taken off guard.
Right. Because I think the crazy dog mom posts that you see going viral on Facebook is when their dog was completely matted, had to be shaved right down, and then the pet parent is freaking out because their dog looks like a completely different animal.
Well, first of all, I would say you you're a bad dog mom.
Oh,
First of
well, listen, I'm not saying that the pet parent is in the right. I'm saying that oftentimes, if the discussion is not had and the pet parent wasn't expecting that, they were expecting to take Fluffy in and get a little hair trim. And
yeah,
then Fluffy comes home with the army buzz cut. That's when you see those viral
yeah.
posts about how
You've got
terrible the
you've
groomer
got
was.
to tell people. You've got to explain all this. So
And
here's
stop it
another.
up front. Stop it up
Yeah,
front, right? Let the
here's
pet parent know that.
here's another scenario. So if you agree to demat the dog, and then once you get into the grooming process, I mean, sometimes you get in there and you're like, okay, this is a lost cause. Like, I can't demat this. Then you have to call the customer and tell them you're going to shave that dog down.
Yeah.
Every once in a while in a blue moon, somebody will be like, well, I'm coming to get my dog
Oh,
because they think they can demat it. And I'm like, fine, do that. I'm not going to shave a dog down without their permission.
yeah. I think, and again, that gives me another idea of a document that I would probably have if I was a groomer. And that would be to mat or not to mat, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But that explains the health risks associated with matting, that explains the pain associated with dematting when shaving is the only option, that
Yeah.
explains that if we call you and we say that we have to shave your dog, it's not because we're trying to get more money out of you. It's not because we want your dog to look funny. We're literally doing this for the health of the animal. And because it would be torture to try to demat this animal when these mats are this bad.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it is a thing. And sometimes it's difficult to discuss, but like you have to. You have
Yeah.
to.
I just think, yeah, like and that goes back to the previous part of your intake form when we're talking about regularly scheduled grooms. And this is how we avoid, you could make your little rack card that basically explains, here's why we do this. Here's why we want you to have regular grooms, because we don't want your dog in a situation where we have to shave him and give him the haircut that you consider bad and hurt him in the process when we're dematting him.
Well, plus you want your clients to set up recurring appointments anyway,
Mhm.
or at least book their next appointment upon checkout.
Yeah.
Because that does keep them on a regular schedule, and that's guaranteed income
Yep.
to you.
Yep.
Because they could forget, and then they go 2 weeks past their date, and then you just lost out on that money.
Well, and then the dog also is at risk of matting or whatever because, oh
Exactly.
crap, we can't get him in for another 4 weeks. And now he's
Yeah.
6 weeks
Yeah,
over.
if you're a salon that books up a lot too, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely wanna get people on a recurring schedule so that they don't miss appointments.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry, before we get started, I just want to officially welcome our newest pet shop girl.
Wait, what are you talking about? What new pet shop
Well,
girl?
okay, they've helped independent pet retailers improve buying margins and inventory performance for years. They understand open to buy, assortment planning, vendor strategy.
And making sure your cash isn't sitting in dead inventory on your shelves.
Wait, is that Dan?
Yes, Dan Jablons,
Pet shop girl.
I am, in fact, a retail smart guy.
which is why we trust him.
Retail Smart Guys has helped both of our stores make smarter buying decisions and improve inventory in a real, measurable way. They helped me grow my store's raw food sales by 20% in 6 months.
Retail smart guys, we help independent pet retailers turn inventory faster, which improves cash flow and enables them to buy more strategically and make more money.
And you can learn more about them at retailsmartguys.com.
And if you use code Pet Shop Girls, you'll get their $1,500 retail assessment for free.
The assessment's a full review of your assortment, how you buy, how your inventory is performing, and it will give you the direction or the next steps you need to take as a store.
So, not a pet shop girl.
But definitely our favorite retail smart guy.
Well, I'll take it.
Okay, now we're going to talk about fleas.
Mm-hmm.
So fleas are another one. You may not see it on check-in. In fact, most of the time you don't. But if fleas are found during the groom, then they are still required to call the client and say, hey, we found fleas. There is going to be an additional fee to deflea them. And then I like to follow that up with kind of like a sandwich statement here. We also recommend washing all of their bedding. And this is a good time for you to do that while they're here with us, because sometimes fleas can hang out on the bedding and then they'll jump right back on the dog.
Yeah.
Now, if you got carpet, that's a whole other problem.
Oh, boy, oh boy. But this is something that, again, when you're doing that check-in, your groomer is going to discuss with the pet parent. And it doesn't have to be a great big long, like accusatory conversation. It can literally be just as we check in the dog. I've checked, I don't see any fleas. If we do happen to find fleas during the groom, we will definitely give you a call and let you know. And here's our protocol.
Yeah, rather than, because this has happened years ago, they would just do the flea treatment and then they wouldn't tell the client. And then even if, like I said, even if it's just a $5 extra charge, they will throw down about it. Or they'll be like, my dog didn't have fleas. But if you call them in the middle of the groom to tell them, they're less likely to have any pushback.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and we're almost done. They're going to ask about pickup. Now, I know salons do it differently all over the place, but the way we do it is first in, first out. So we have all the clients drop off in the morning, and then my groomers do the dogs in order of arrival, unless there is an express groom that requested to be out sooner than later. And so my groomers say they should be ready around 2:00, or you give them a window. They should be ready. You could even say this afternoon, and we will text you. So our system has a texting feature. When the groomer's finished, it sends an auto text. Some people still want to be called. So if they want to be called, then, hey, we'll call or text you when the dog is ready. If it's their first time, or again, if they're a new dog owner and they don't know how long it typically takes, I have them explain our process, because we are not a salon that does one dog at a time. A groomer can actually do more dogs if you bathe all of them in the morning and then you do your haircuts after that. So instead of doing a dog all the way through, that's how we do it. But I'm not saying that's the right way or the wrong way. I'm just saying that's how we do it. And I like for them to explain that to the customer so they're not expecting the dog back in an hour, especially if it's a 100-pound doodle. That's
Right.
not going to happen. However you do it, that's not going to happen. And we also don't rush puppies or seniors. Doing a senior, and this may be controversial, what I'm about to say, but in my opinion, doing a senior dog that has a hard time standing straight through without giving them a break, I think is actually more stressful. I like to, we'll do the bath, give them a break. Or do the bath, dry them, give them a break. Do some hair cutting, depending on how big they are and how hard it is for them to stand. Then give them a break, even halfway through the groom. Then you could groom a different dog. Then you come back to the older dog because it can be hard for them to stand for that long. So but again, this all comes down to communication and explaining to clients what is best for them and their dog.
What I had suggested to Sherry before we started was that to possibly save time on your intake is that maybe when somebody books a groom, whether they do it online or whether they do it over the phone or whether they do it through Instagram or however they do it, they receive an electronic version of the intake form of the information that the customer can provide before they get there. And then there is still, obviously, there's still going to be kind of a watered down version of your intake process, but it would save maybe a little bit of time in the salon because not every pet parent's going to fill out your
Well, plus you would have it in writing too. And that way, if the husband
yeah.
versus the wife dropped off,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have that issue.
And
I think
that
it's a
would
great
be-
idea. I think some booking systems may have that capability. We're actually about to switch our booking system, so I may see what capabilities it has.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are doing it if it's not through your booking system and you're creating your own electronic form, and this is something that I do whenever I have a form that requires kind of authorization that you said this could happen, I have the last thing that they basically essentially complete is that by checking here or whatever it is, you are off. This is your electronic signature that you authorize this. And when I would do my pet expo, when I first started doing the pet expo, I used to have a little safety waiver that everybody had to fill out who was bringing a pet, but that took a lot of time. And so the last time we did our pet expo, I changed that to be a QR code. It was also a lot of paper.
I was going to say you could do it on paper, but it is a lot of paper. Like
it's a lot of paper.
Like I've been to a nail salon before where they had like a small, like a half-page pad of paper that listed all of their services, and then you were supposed to check on there which ones you wanted. My problem with that though was I didn't know what some of those services were.
What the services were.
And I just wanted to tell them what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, I used a lot of paper to have all these safety waivers for everybody to sign that came in with a pet. And two, then I hung on to them like for years because I was like, what if they came back? When I moved to electronic, I'm like, why didn't I do this before? Literally, they scan the QR code. They still fill out the same information, read all the same information, but they're doing it on their own phone. And then the last one that I essentially included, the last section, because I used to have them sign the form, but the last section was by clicking here, you authorize that this is your electronic signature and you authorize whatever. And also then I didn't have to store that. I still have them all, but they're not taking up space in my garage somewhere.
This is making me think about when we first opened in 2006. We actually started with grooming. We've always offered grooming. And this was before electronic stuff was common.
A thing, yeah.
So we had our waiver, which was like 2 pages at least. We had them all printed off. New people would have to sign it. And then I would make a file folder for each person with a copy of their vaccine records. And Man, we had so many filing cabinets. Like we recently, like within the past, actually, it's probably during the pandemic, we're like, we need to get rid of all this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, man, we probably had 6 filing cabinets that were,
Mhm.
my height.
Yeah. Listen, like, you know what? And there are still places today. I just started going to a physiotherapist because of my knee and my neck. Oh yeah, because I'm ancient. And this is when you start to fall apart. So, anyways, I filled out this great big long form online just to make my appointment. And then when I go there, they gave me a clipboard with another 4 pages of information that I had to fill out. And I'm
Thanks
like,
to a lot of doctors' offices still do it on paper.
my dentist does it too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what is wrong with you people? Why do I have to fill? And again, then where are you storing it? Filing cabinets. What a
Filing
waste of
cabinets.
space. What a
Oh my
waste of space.
gosh. And
Yeah,
then
no,
when I went to try to sell my filing cabinets, like nobody wants that.
no, you're
I
selling them for $5.
we
Like,
pretty much we set them outside. They were free.
listen, the filing cabinet that I bought for House of Paws, and of course I did, it was teal. I had to buy it. This filing cabinet also weighed the amount of like a half-ton truck. Like it
Oh,
was
nice.
oh my god, it's so that thing's not moving. Like when I leave my building, that filing cabinet will stay there because it is a ridiculously heavy filing cabinet, even
I
empty.
mean, we still have one filing cabinet, but it doesn't have
Client
file for each
files.
a file for each
Oh,
client in it. Yeah.
I know. This is listen, anytime I can figure out a way to eliminate paper and replace that with electronic forms, I will do it every single time
For sure.
because I don't want the headache of paper. We used to do that too when we would do nail trim events in my store. We would do a waiver that you
Yeah.
couldn't take issue with us, and I moved that and I kept all those papers in a file. It's all
Yeah.
electronic now if I do it
Oh,
anymore.
yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Well, again, I wanted to reiterate that, like, look, I know every salon does it differently. And I just wanted to share how we do it. And maybe you took something away from it. If you haven't standardized or written down even something as simple as this, then you can't hold your groomers accountable. So,
Yeah. And you also can't fight the customer when they're like, "That's not what I asked for."
yeah.
And when you say to them, "Well, we asked you if you wanted what you wanted last time," that doesn't tell anybody anything.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Mm-mm.
this gives you some ability to, 1, hold your groomers accountable, but 2, also make sure that you are providing the level of service that your customers have come to expect from you and there's no
Yes.
discrepancies.
This is your insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. Or as we say in Canada, insurance.
What?
You said
Ins-
insurance.
insurance.
Insurance. Insurance.
Oh,
Just
maybe
so
that's my maybe that's my Texas accent.
well, y'all, if you don't have your insurance, now you do. All right. Well, okay, Sherry, this is your baby because I am not the grooming guru that you are. So did we miss
Oh, I'm
anything?
not a look, I do wanna say I am not a groomer. Now, I did groom my show dog when I showed him, but it's nothing like doing a poodle. My husband actually used to groom. So, and look, I know a lot of salon owners that aren't groomers, and there's a lot of struggles going on. So, we do plan on doing some more grooming episodes in the future and bringing on some experts to help us along the way. So, let us know what you want to hear about, please. And join us in the India Insider group. You can always
Mhm.
drop us a message through Facebook or email us at the number 2 petshopgirls@gmail.com.
Yeah. And do not forget that exclusively for our Substack members, you will get a copy of Sherry's grooming intake script that
System script. Yeah.
yeah, that all of her groomers go through whenever they are bringing in a client. So if you're thinking, this is a great idea, I need to do something like this, you can
Yeah.
now
You could
not
just
have to
take
start from
mine.
scratch.
You can just take mine and tweak it for however you guys do your stuff. So,
Stew it, man. Stew
yep.
it.
Steal it, tweak it, use it.
Woohoo! All right, pet pros, until next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, Pet Pro, that's it for this week.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
Just hit all the buttons.
And if you want more, join us in the Indie Insider, our private Facebook group for pet pros.
Then you'll never miss the podcast that makes you sit, stay, and beg for more. The Pet Shop Girls.
Pet Shop Girls.
Quick tip. Always sell benefits over features.
It's not grain-free, it helps digestion.
Can we just say something out loud for a second? Business coaching does not have to cost hundreds of dollars a month.
It really doesn't. And yet somehow our industry has normalized paying massive retainers for someone to tell you what you already know you should be doing, but not how to do it.
Exactly. You should send emails. Cool. How? You should run events. Great. What kind? You should train your staff. Okay. With what system? That's why we created the Pet Shop Girls Off the Record Substack.
Because inside Off the Record, we don't just talk about what to do, we break down exactly how we do it in our own stores and businesses.
That's right. The spreadsheets, the playbooks, the templates, the systems, the scripts. We've already done the trial and error so you don't have to burn cash figuring it out.
If something worked for us, we show you how to implement it. If something flopped, we tell you that too. It's real-world, indie-tested strategy.
This is business coaching for pet pros who actually want to grow without paying $200, $800, or $2,000 a month for vague motivation.
You get proven strategies you can apply immediately to increase revenue, build stronger teams, and run a smarter operation.
If you've ever thought, I just need someone to show me exactly how they're doing this, Off the Record is where that happens.
Come behind the scenes with us.
Join Pet Shop Girls Off the Record on Substack. The link is in our show notes.